Judge, I removed the...
Camden,
I'm sorry, making a delivery?
making a delivery to the courthouse, and I spoke with one of the security guards there.
Okay, is that the federal courthouse?
I believe it's the federal courthouse, yes.
Okay, and what did you tell the security guard?
I told him we were chit-chatting about what happened to it that morning, but my wife had told me the story, and he lives in Haddonfield, so he understands what's going on in town. And I spoke to him what happened, and I told him what I saw, and I thought it was kind of strange at that time in the morning that, you see that gentleman walking across the street pulling a tote bag. I just,
It stood out as unusual?
yeah, I thought it was unusual.
Okay, at some point, were you contacted by the Haddon Township Police Department?
I was, I believe in the afternoon of that.
Same day? Okay, and did they want you to come in and give a statement?
Yes, they did.
And did you do that?
Yes, I did.
When did you give your statement?
It was in the afternoon after my work.
So that same day, October 13th? I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Good question.
No question. Thank you. Mr. Bessie, thank you very much.
The state's next witness is going to be Joseph Richie.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to come up and stand right before the clerk here to my left.
Please left in the Bible and the Bible. 8 minutes. Is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So just have a seat right here.
And where do you live?
90 Virginia Avenue, Haddon Township.
Who do you live with?
My mom's still there.
How long have you lived at 90 Virginia Avenue?
28 years, give or take.
28? Sorry, it's a little hard to hear you when the air kicks on. Are you familiar with the brick apartment building at the corner of Virginia Avenue and Cooper Street? How far is that from your house on Virginia Avenue?
About 100 feet.
100 feet?
About.
Do you go to school?
Yeah, college.
How long, or when did you start at Camden County College?
Fall 2015.
And what are you going to study there?
Bio.
Looking back in the fall semester of 2015, that was your first semester there, correct? Okay. How many days a week were you going to school that first semester?
Twice.
And which days of the week would you attend classes?
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
How would you get from your house on Virginia Avenue in Westmont down to Blackwood?
I would walk down Center, well, down Virginia to Center, then up Center to Haddon, and to speed up
And which speed line station would that be?
Westmont.
Back when you first started school in the fall of 2015, how many credits were you taking, or how many classes were you taking?
I started off with 5, but I had to drop one, so
So you ended up taking 4? On each Tuesday and each Thursday, how many classes would you have each day? What time did your first class start?
8 a.m.
Now, you testified that you would, to get there, correct me if I'm wrong, you would go down Virginia to Center Street, up to Haddon Avenue, and then over to the speed line, correct? How long would it normally take you to make that walk to the high speed line?
About 12 to 15 minutes.
Where would you take the high speed line to?
Lindenwood speed line.
And what would you do from the Lindenwald speed line to get to Blackwood?
Take the 415 bus.
So if your classes started at 8 o'clock in the morning, what time would you leave your house in Westmont in order to make that commute to Blackwood?
I leave every day at 6, and I get to campus about 7:30.
How would you carry your school stuff when you were making your commute?
During that time, I had a roll-on backpack.
Did it have wheels on it? And what would you take to school with you each day?
About 50-pound books.
Okay. Is that why you had the wheelie bag? Okay, Mr. Ritchie, I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to October 13th of 2015, Tuesday, October 13th. Do you remember that day? And did you go to school that day? What time did you leave that morning?
6 a.m.
Did you walk your usual route? And again, when you're walking your route, you go by the apartment building on the corner of Virginia and Cooper, correct? Okay. Did you notice anything going on when you walked through there?
I don't normally see it.
Can you tell us, how is it that you're able to remember that particular date?
Well, my mom has health issues, so when I came home and seen all the cops outside, I was hoping it wasn't anything to do with her.
Okay. Because you're right, your house is right near there?
Yeah, it's literally right across the street and like 10 feet away.
Judge, can I approach the witness with State's Exhibit 95 and State's Exhibit 96?
May.
Mr. Ritchie, I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit number 95. Do you recognize what's shown there?
Me, Terry,
And can you tell where you are from that picture?
speed line.
Judge, I removed State's Exhibit number 95 into evidence.
Objection.
And
No
for-
objection to you.
For the record, Judge, State's Exhibit 96 is stipulated to us, the timestamp for the photo at the high-speed line station. It's October 13th, 2015 at 6:17 a.m. We're not going to put this up on the board, we'll just display it to the jurors. And I'll move both in.
No objection to you.
And I don't believe I have any additional questions for Mr. Ritchie. Thank you, sir.
Press examination.
You left at 6 a.m., you said, sir? You 6 a.m. again. Thanks for notice.
No follow-up, Judge.
You can sit down. Thank you very much. Next.
Okay, thanks, Judge. The state's going to call Christopher Bradley.
So I ask you to come up and stand right before the clerk here tonight. Over here. No, where's me? Right there.
Please raise your left hand on the Bible and read tonight. State your name for the record, please. You swear or affirm the testimony that you shall give in this matter.
Next, answer your right there.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bradley. Can you tell ladies and gentlemen of the jury what your occupation is, what you do for a living?
I work customer service, delivery driver for a restaurant.
Okay. And how long have you had that job?
It's been on and off for almost 10 years.
Where are you currently living?
In Collingswood, New Jersey.
Does anyone live with you?
Yes.
Who lives with you?
My son Kyle and his grandma, which is my mom.
And how old is Kyle?
He is 13.
How long have you been living in that location in Collingswood?
A year since September of 15.
Where did you live before September of 2015?
103 Cooper Street, apartment 103B,
When did you move into that apartment?
in March of 2015.
At the time when you moved into that apartment, what keys were you provided with?
3 keys, a mailbox key, a building key, and an apartment key.
So the building key, which door did that work for?
The main entrance to get into our building, our apartment itself.
Okay, so when you open that main entrance, what are you looking at?
Steps.
Okay. And then what was the other key that you were given besides the mailbox?
My own personal apartment.
Was the key to your apartment, was that different than the key to the downstairs door?
Yeah.
Okay, so you needed two separate keys to get in?
Yeah.
How long did you live in that apartment?
Approximately 6 months.
And who lived in that apartment with you?
My son.
Do you recall the date that you left the apartment last month
September 5th?
of 2015?
Yes.
And why did you leave the apartment?
Financial.
Financial?
Yes.
How did you return the property back to the landlord?
I left the keys, when I left the keys on the counter, kitchen counter, and I looked, sealed up.
During the 7 months that you lived in that apartment, did you ever have any of your keys copied? You've already given us a little bit of information about the locks downstairs on the front door. During the 7 months that you lived in that apartment, did you ever have any problem with the locks on the bottom door?
No.
Did it latch?
Yes.
Did the door close by itself?
Sometimes when I first moved in, like the thing that I think was called like the tension, that would, when you would open up the door, they had to adjust that,
Okay.
and they did that. But other than that, I never had any problems with the door.
What was the problem you were having with the door when you would open it?
Like when you would open it, like it wasn't shut by itself. It was just like, unless you actually physically shut the door itself, then it would shut.
Okay.
But like if you just like open the door and walked away, the door would remain open.
Okay, and who did you bring that to the attention of?
Mr. John Mendez. He was like the guy doing all the work on the construction on the building itself.
Okay, and what did he do when you advised him that your exterior door wasn't closing by itself?
He said he would get on top of it because he looked at it and he said, "Oh, no problem. It's a minor thing." So he adjusted it and it was fine.
Okay, and did it work fine after that? Do you have any idea when that occurred?
Say maybe like May, possibly.
When you were living in that building, did you always lock that bottom door?
Yes, when I left the building, I would turn the little knob, the little switch on the bottom of the knob,
Okay.
and lock it. And that's how I would lock it.
Okay, so you're talking about the part that was located on the handle?
Yeah.
Okay, did you ever engage the deadbolt when you left?
Nah.
After you moved into when you first moved into your apartment, did you have a neighbor right across the hallway from you?
No, not when I first moved in.
Okay, did someone move in there?
Yes.
And do you recall when that occurred?
I would say approximately a month after I moved in.
Okay, so April?
Yeah.
And who was the neighbor that moved in across the hall from you?
Mr. Creato.
Okay, do you see him here in court with us?
Oh, yes, okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. And just for the record, what color is his tie?
I'll still do it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so when you finally beat a neighbor across the hall from you, it was the defendant who moved in across the hall?
Yes.
Okay, and did the two of you share that common entryway at the bottom?
Yes.
Were you aware as to whether or not the defendant had a child?
Yes.
Did you ever see the child?
Occasionally, yes.
Okay, was it a boy?
Yes.
Do you know what his name was?
Brandon?
And how old was the defendant's son, would you say?
2 or 3 years old.
Other than that time when you were having a problem with that downstairs front door closing, from the time you moved into that apartment in March until the time you moved out on September 5th, did you have any other trouble with the bottom doorway that you shared with the defendant to access your apartments?
No.
I don't have any other questions for Mr. Brackley, Judge.
President,
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Bradley.
Hello.
Ms. Bradley, my name is Richard Bashino. I represent Mr. Creato. Just a few questions.
Sure.
If you don't understand anything I ask, you tell me and I'll ask a different way.
Sure.
All right, sir. When you first moved in, the place was recently renovated or in the process of renovation?
They were still re-renovating it.
So you said the first few months you were there were still people working?
Oh, yeah.
Among the people working was the guy you identified, I think, John Meadows.
Yeah. I didn't know his last name for a while, but I know the fire chief. I just call him Mr. John.
Did you know whether he had keys to the apartments there?
Yeah.
Okay. And he had keys to all the apartments, I guess, because he was doing the work?
Yeah. Yes.
And he wasn't the only person doing the work, right?
No, there was numerous people there at different times. You know, like I guess electricians, plumbers.
Could you say about how many different workers came in and out while you were there?
Primarily, they were doing a lot of work on the opposite side of the building where I was living at. So I really couldn't give you a pinpoint answer, but you know, I was seeing like a lot of different trucks there, like you know, like construction trucks, gentlemen doing like I said, plumbing, things of that nature. But I wasn't really paying attention to things like that.
So you couldn't say how many actual individuals came in and out over the course of those months?
No, I couldn't pinpoint that.
I appreciate it. Sir, did you interact with Mr. Creato at all?
But more or less occasionally, hey, how you doing? We really didn't see too much each other too much. When he first moved in, we had like these like video cameras, I guess you would call them.
Mm-hmm.
They were like a monitor like outside of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so John had told me when he moved in that we had each other's. We had like the one-on-ones. Like he had mine and I had his.
So if someone rang your bell, they would show up on his screen?
Yeah, exactly.
Vice versa.
So John had asked me, would you mind going over there, knocking on the door, and tell him, Mr. Creato to, here's yours.
Switch.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I did. But when I knocked on the door, I didn't know if it was his girlfriend or his wife. I didn't know who she was, but I just gave it to a female, and then that was about it. And then like I said, occasionally, like I would see him out front, going up and down the steps, and say, hey, how you doing?
You weren't friends then?
Oh no. Just neighbors.
Did you ever have the occasion to watch or hear him interact with his son?
Yeah, I would hear that sometimes.
Would you hear laughing and playing?
Yeah.
Games? Playing games with him?
Sounded like, typical father stuff, like giggling, like, I would hear the little boy laughing a lot.
You never heard him yelling or striking a kid, anything like that?
No, I mean, I heard him saying don't do that or, knock that off or something else, but I never heard any kind of like striking or like extreme yelling,
Obviously, if he did, you would have told somebody, right?
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, if it was something that was, if I heard him like physically hurting him or, like cursing him out or something like that, yes, of course.
Nothing like that ever?
No, I never heard that.
Giggling, laughing, playing games?
Yes.
And you never locked that top deadbolt, right?
No, I never did. No.
Thanks, sir. No other questions?
You're right.
I don't have anything, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Counsel.
Thank you.
The state's going to call Detective Joe Gersick.
So I'll ask you to come up and stand right before the clerk here tonight.
State your name for the record, please.
Detective Joseph Gersick.
Do you swear or affirm testimony you shall give
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury where you work?
Camden County Prosecutor's Office.
What is your occupation with the prosecutor's office?
Currently assigned as a county detective for crime scene investigation.
Okay. Before we get to your current assignment, can you tell me what is your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree from Stockton University,
And what's your degree in?
biology.
How long have you been a detective with the Camden County Prosecutor's Office?
Approximately 17 and a half years.
And did you have any prior law enforcement experience?
Yes.
What was it?
I was a Class 2 officer in Brooklawn and a full-time officer in West Deptford Township.
Now, you indicated that you're currently assigned to the crime scene investigation unit, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been with that unit?
Approximately 6.5 years.
Can you describe your duties as a detective assigned to that unit?
Yeah. Besides assisting the prosecutor's office, the various units within the office, we respond to municipalities within Camden County. We respond, we document with reports, photographs, sometimes videos of various crime scenes. If there's evidence there, we collect it, and depending on the nature of the crime that occurred, we turn it back over to the municipality, we bring it back to our office, and we process it for them.
And is the Camden County Prosecutor's Office crime scene investigation unit, or do they have the lead in that regard on all homicide cases?
Yes, ma'am.
How many crime scenes have you yourself been on?
Over 800,
And of those, how many were homicides?
approximately 80.
And were you the lead detective in that many?
Yes.
Were you involved in the investigation of the homicide of Brendan Creato?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was your role in this particular investigation?
I processed the residence 2 times. I also collected 2 bags of trash, as well as processing the suspect's father's vehicle.
So were you the lead crime scene detective in this case? You didn't go out to the scene, did you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Detective, I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to Tuesday, October the 13th of 2015. Were you working that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you called out to search an apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
What time did you receive that call?
Approximately 15:34 hours, or 3:34 p.m.
And who did you receive that call from?
Sergeant Robert Norcross.
And is he the unit commander for the crime scene investigation unit?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you called to?
103 Cooper Street in Haddon Township, Apartment D.
And did you report to that address?
Yes, ma'am.
What time did you get there approximately?
Approximately 4 o'clock.
Can you describe the neighborhood for us?
Heavily residential.
And just give us a brief description of the apartment building.
It's a standalone building, brick faced, multiple entrances on the sides, on a corner.
Okay, and what's the intersection it's located at?
Cooper and Virginia, I believe.
Okay. So what did you find when you arrived at the apartment building?
It was secured with yellow plastic crime scene tape. Once I got my vehicle inside the tape, I was approached by Lieutenant Trish Lane from the office. I was then escorted to an officer to put on a crime scene log, and then she walked me up to the front door of the residence.
Okay, and Lieutenant Patricia Tulane, what unit was she in charge of?
Homicide?
And did you check in with the crime scene log? Okay, so once you're all checked in, what was the first thing you did at the apartment?
Lieutenant Lane walked me through the scene, and then she requested that I sample some suspected blood stains.
And where were those blood stains located?
One was on entering the bathroom, and one was on the right side of the door frame, and then there was 2 spots actually on the bathroom floor.
Before you sampled those, though, did you do a preliminary walkthrough of the scene?
Yes, ma'am.
And what else did you do as you were doing that preliminary walkthrough?
Looked for possible evidentiary items within the house.
What was your next step after your preliminary walkthrough?
I then sampled the suspected blood stains.
Did you take any photographs first?
The front door, I believe, and then I went to do the blood, suspected blood.
Well, before we get, you collected the blood before you photographed the entire apartment?
Yes.
Okay. We'll come back to getting the blood in just a minute, okay? Did you at some point take an initial series of photographs of the entire apartment?
Yes.
Okay. And can you describe for me the general condition of the apartment?
It was heavily cluttered, and it was very distraught. Cabinet doors were open, sofas were moved, the bed in the bedroom had been flipped on its side, everything was down in the closet, very distraught.
Now, you testified that before you took the initial photographs, you went in and took some samples in the bathroom, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to take a look at the state's exhibit. Actually, Judge, I'm going to have to go through these one by one because some of them are already in evidence. I'm trying not to continue to print them out, so I'm going to ask you to take a look at them when you do them first. State's Exhibit 46, which is already in evidence, 47, which is already in evidence, State's Exhibit 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, and 112. Could you just flip through those for me and let me know when you're done? And what was the next in your investigation at the defendant's apartment?
Then I took overalls.
Saw with your own eyes in the bathroom of that apartment that night?
Yes, ma'am.
And did they also document you collecting what you believe to be blood in the bathroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you describe for the jury, what is the process you follow when you're going to collect a blood sample? How do you do that?
First, we do a presumptive test. We have, they're called Siemens hemosticks. We have 2 cotton-tipped applicators, which are basically laid Q-tips on a wooden stick. We spray them with distilled water. We then swab them or rub them onto the suspected area of blood, and then we touch them to the hemosticks. They're yellow in nature when we receive them, and then they turn green if there's a presence of blood. So we do that to each one.
And just to follow that all the way through, once you collect the swabbing, if it does test positive and you determine you're going to keep it, what do you do with it?
It's then secured into a small manila envelope or a small cardboard box and sealed.
And how do you document the collection of all of this?
Document is, and we keep a lot of what we take from each scene, and then on each either cardboard box or envelope, we write on it where it was located. It could be a scene ID number. This one, I'm sure you'll see, it was my initials with a number, or where we located it from.
Okay, and you also document by photographing as you go along, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How many samples did you test in the bathroom?
In the bathroom, too.
I'm going to ask you, well, I'm sorry, Judge, we're pulling the pictures up right now in a minute.
Which pictures?
It's the ones that we just went through, judges. Oh, I'm sorry, did I not move those into evidence?
No, you did not.
I would like to move in state's exhibits number 104 through and including 112.
No
Thank you.
objection, those will be admitted evidence.
The first 2 were already in.
I think there were other photographs shown.
She just identified the 104, the others were 40, was it 40?
46 and 47.
Thank you.
The councilman lights on?
Yes, can we please, Judge? Thank you. Okay, Detective, the first one you're looking at here has already been marked in evidence in state's exhibit number 46. Do you recognize what's shown here?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
It's the bathroom. I'm standing in the bedroom looking into the bathroom of the residence at 103.
Okay. And state's exhibit number 47? What are you looking at here?
I'm standing in the doorway looking into the left section or shower section of the bathroom.
And state's exhibit number 104?
I'm standing in the shower, my back is to the shower looking at the toilet and the window.
Now, when you first looked in, when you did your initial cursory inspection, what, if anything, in the bathroom caught your attention that first time when Lieutenant Delaney directed you there?
The 2 suspected blood stains on the floor, as well as an item that was located in the trash can, which is seen to the right of the toilet.
Okay, and was there anything in the doorway entry into that room?
There's a small area of suspected blood also located on the right side of the door jamb area, down
Okay.
towards the floor.
Did you test that area as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm just going to do these in the order of the photographs. Can we see state's exhibit number 105? Okay, so now we're looking in the bathroom trash can, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what did you notice in the bathroom trash can?
There was a bloody object in the trash can that was identified at a later time.
Okay, and does it, when you first visualize it, does it just appear to be a tampon?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can we see this picture, please? Now, this is the doorway to the bathroom, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you see something in this doorway that caught your attention?
It's on the right-hand side, all the way down, just above that gold strip between the carpet and the floor.
Next picture, please. This is stage 107, so you took a closer-up photograph of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct? Okay, and did you do any testing on this particular spot?
Yes, ma'am.
What label did you put on this spot?
I'm sorry, JG1. There's
Okay.
marked on scale tape.
Okay. Can you zoom that in so we can see the scale tape? There we go. And it says JG1 there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what's the JG for?
My initials.
And what's the 1 for?
That's the first location.
Okay, what happened when you tested that location?
Came up negative.
Okay. You want to see states exhibit number 1 and 8? I think you indicated that the other 2 areas that you noticed were on the floor of the bathroom, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this just a wide-angle shot of what you saw? I know it's a little hard to see up there because of the pattern on the floor, but this is the farthest out picture that you took?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and can we see 109? All right, now do you see the 2 areas that you taped up?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you take even closer shots of them?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see number 110? This is state's exhibit number 110. And detective, what's the purpose of taking so many pictures of the same thing?
Just so we can identify at a location of where an object was. If I was to just show you this picture, you wouldn't know where it was in really, I'd just say the bathroom floor. You wouldn't know in relation to where it was in the bathroom floor. So we take a far, a mid, and a close-up of each item that's collected.
Okay. So, and can you move on to state's exhibit number 111? Okay. Can you zoom that in just a little bit so the witness can see it? Thank you. Okay, detective. Do you see writing? Out just a little bit, I'm sorry. So we can see what's going on. There we go. Okay, do you see any writing on the crime scene, on the tape there?
Yes, ma'am.
And what are those 2 spots?
The one in the lower right-hand corner, I believe, is JG2,
Okay.
and the one in the upper left-hand corner is JG3.
Okay. And did you do the hemostick test on both of those spots?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to ask that we move on to photograph number 112 because it's close up with one of the spots. Okay. Can you tell us what we're looking at here with the swabs and the piece of paper that's next to it?
The piece of paper, elongated white piece of paper on the bottom left-hand corner with the dark green portions at the top is the actual hemosticks test.
Right here?
That's presumptive. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what are the 2 swabs for?
The 2 wooden sticks are showing that I used the 2 sticks, I collected it from that location, I touched it to the hemstick, that location, showing a positive result.
Lights, please. Okay, so once you had collected those swabs, or done those preliminary tests and collected those swabs, then what did you do?
Those swabs are then secured into their own separate envelope and then secured in my office. It should be.
And what was the next step you took in your investigation at the defendant's apartment?
Then I took overalls of the entire residence as it was when I arrived.
Judge, may I approach the witness again? Again, Your Honor, some of these have already been admitted in evidence, so I'm just going to go through them one by one. I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit number 25, State's Exhibit 97, State's Exhibit 26, State's Exhibit 98, State's Exhibit 27. I'm sorry, I should say 27 is already in evidence. The low numbered ones are already in evidence. State's Exhibit number 28, which is already in evidence. 29, which is already in evidence. State's Exhibit number 99. State's Exhibit number 100. State's Exhibit number 101. State's Exhibit number 30, which is already in evidence. 31, which is already in evidence, 32, which is already in evidence, 33, which is already in evidence, 36, which is already in evidence. 37 is already in evidence, 38 is already in evidence, 39 is already in evidence, 41, 42 are already in evidence, 54 is already in evidence, 43 is already in evidence, 44 is already in evidence, and then State's Exhibit number 102 and 103. And most importantly, please keep them in evidence. Well, actually, I'm going to take them with me. As I was flipping through all those photographs, did you recognize what was shown in each one?
Yes.
And are you the individual that took these photographs?
Yes, ma'am.
And when were they taken?
On October 13th.
Okay, so this is the initial photographs of the apartment that you took?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I would move State's Exhibits numbers 97 through 103 into evidence. I'll confer with your clerk later, but I believe those are all the ones that were not yet put in.
Any objection, Counsel? No objection to even.
And again, to technical courtesy, just for your information, the jury's already seen a number of these photos, so we're just going to go through them.
Okay.
Okay. Would you lights, please? Okay, can you tell us what we're looking at here in State's Exhibit 25?
The ground level door entering into the residence?
And is that how the door appeared when you first arrived at the scene? Was it closed like that?
Yes.
Okay, and State's Exhibit number 97, please? Do you recognize what's shown in this photograph?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
It's the upper deadbolt and the lower doorknob for the ground level door?
Okay, and is that how it appeared at the time when you were there?
Yes, ma'am.
Taking a look at State's Exhibit number 26, do you recognize what this is?
Yes, ma'am.
What are we looking at?
I'm just showing that the door open and going into the residence, that you would have to ascend a flight of steps to go to the residence.
Okay, and it appears that someone's holding that door open, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And why was that?
It's spring-loaded, so as soon as that leg wasn't there, that person wasn't there, the door would just keep on closing. I would never be able to take the shot without someone or something propping that door open.
Okay. In the next picture, this is State's Exhibit number 98. What are we looking at here?
Inside of the deadbolt, showing that there's a mechanism on there to throw the deadbolt, as well as the doorknob on the bottom, and it's just a simple turn knob lock.
And the next one is State's Exhibit number 27. And what's that photograph of?
I'm standing in the doorway showing the flight of steps that you would have to ascend to get to the apartment.
And State's Exhibit number 28?
I'm standing with my back to apartment B, showing the front door to the residence.
And did the door to apartment B look like that door except it had a B on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. State's Exhibit number 29.
Again, showing the upper deadbolt and the lower doorknob entering into the residence.
And State's Exhibit number 99. What's this a photograph of?
I'm inside the residence now with my back to the living room, looking at the front door. I noticed that there's a top lock here for a chain, but there's no chain on the frame sides to be locked. There's a deadbolt in the middle, and there's a doorknob with a turn knob for locking it.
And State's Exhibit number 100? And what is that close-up of?
Just the deadbolt
Okay.
mechanism, as well as the doorknob with a turn knob lock.
Okay, can you zoom in there just a little? Now, when did you take these photographs?
October 13th.
And at that time, well, let me ask you, I've asked almost everyone this question. What is this part of the doorknob called?
That's the latch or the throw. An older term is called the throw, but in recent terms it's called the latch.
Okay, and what is this plate over here referred to as?
It's the strike plate, or in older carpenter's term it's called the catch.
Okay, and when you were in this apartment and you took that photograph on October 13th, was the latch properly engaging in the throw plate?
Yes, ma'am.
Please, next one is number 101. And do you recognize what's shown here?
Yes, ma'am.
What's this a photograph
I'm
of?
standing in the doorway, and again, the door's, my foot is in the door holding it open, showing just a direct view in. That's the refrigerator. You see that white object as well as a portion of the kitchen floor and a portion of the living room wall.
Okay, so is the entry door that goes directly into the apartment spring-loaded as well?
I don't remember that, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, would it close if you weren't holding it open?
More than likely.
The next one is going to be State's Exhibit number 30. And what is this a photograph of?
I'm standing again in the doorway, just panning the camera left to right, taking another picture of the living room.
And State's Exhibit number 31? Where are you standing here?
I literally walked diagonal across the living room, and I'm standing in the doorway to the bedroom, looking at the living room.
And State's Exhibit number 32?
Now I'm panning left to right, taking another picture of the living room.
State's Exhibit number 33?
Again, just panning left to right, getting a 360-degree feel for the living room.
And State's Exhibit number 36?
Now I'm standing in, I guess it would be the closet corner of the living room, looking towards the kitchen.
And State's Exhibit 37?
Again, standing in the closet corner, looking at the living room wall on the left and the doorway leading into the bedroom.
Okay, so basically you're taking kind of around a picture of the living room, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think there's more to come. State's Exhibit number 38? Where were you standing when you took this photo?
I'm standing in the kitchen, looking directly across into the opposite corner.
And State's Exhibit number 39?
That's the small couch or chair setting in the living room with two suitcases, or I'm sorry, a wheeled suitcase and two backpacks.
And State's Exhibit number 40?
That's the wall between the closet and the bedroom, a pillow, blanket, and some, looks like a hamper, and some kids' child items.
State's Exhibit number 41?
I'm standing with my back to that brown couch with the suitcases and bags. I'm looking at a coffee table and another small kitchen table with the TV on it, looking at the living room wall and the kitchen.
Okay, when you're looking at this photograph, do you notice any laptop computers in this photo?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, where do you see them?
On the chair to the right, on the seat area, there's a black laptop.
Okay, and where's the other one located?
Right there on the coffee table.
And State's Exhibit number 42? What's your number there? Oh, okay. I think I'm going to put that in the wrong place. Can you get in State's Exhibit 54? Detective, I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit number 54. Where were these items located?
On the table with that held the TV.
Okay, now State's Exhibit number 42. What are we looking through here?
I'm standing in the living room looking into the bedroom.
And State's Exhibit number 43?
I'm standing in the doorway taking a picture of the bedroom.
Okay, do you see that container with the green neon edging on your left up by the bathroom door there?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what was in that container?
It's either, it was some kind of pet, either a guinea pig or some kind of rodent pet.
Okay. And State's Exhibit number 44. Again, are we still in the bedroom here?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, there appears to be another similar container to the left of the closet door. Do you recall what was in there?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, State's Exhibit number 102. God, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm
Still in the
standing
bedroom, right?
Yes, I'm standing in the bedroom looking towards the bathroom wall, the entrance to the bathroom. To the left of that is where the closet was. I'm just showing all the items that were pulled from the closet on the floor.
And State's Exhibit number 103.
I just pan to the right, showing that the item's still on the floor, as well as the plastic container with the pet inside. It's in the lower right-hand corner.
Okay, you don't recall what kind of pet that was?
I believe it was a guinea pig.
Okay. And do you also see a laptop in that photograph?
Yes, ma'am, in the lower right-hand corner.
Okay. that night, did you collect any evidence in the living room of the apartment?
Yes.
What did you take? I'm sorry, can we have lights again? Thank you.
The 2 computers,
Okay,
as well as a red child Mickey Mouse slipper.
and that was located in the living room?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you collect any evidence from the bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you collect in the bedroom?
A large clear Ziploc bag with medicine, as well as paperwork for the victim, Brendan, another computer, and a brown or light tan comforter with suspected bloodstains.
And I was just going to say, is that why you collected the comforter?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you've already explained to us the swabbings that you collected from the bathroom. Did you collect anything else from the bathroom?
The swabbings and the tampon that was in the trash can.
Okay, what did you do with all the evidence that you collected that night?
It was all packaged separately, secured in my office, issued a vehicle, and then brought back to the prosecutor's office. It was then secured within, we have our own temporary evidence within the crime scene unit. It was secured there to be processed at a later time.
Okay, and who was going to process most of those items at a later time?
Me.
Okay, and who was going to process the, well, describe for me if you would, what kind of processing would you yourself do on the computers?
We just photograph them and then we turn them over either to the lead homicide investigator or we take them up to our high-tech unit within the prosecutor's office and turn them over ourselves.
Okay, so you don't do any kind of forensic digital examination of devices?
No, ma'am.
Okay. At the time, let me go back to this. I'm going to ask you if you would take a look at what's going to be marked for identification. As State's Exhibit number 155. Do you recognize that packaging?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you explain to us how evidence is packaged when you collect it at a scene?
After being photographed, it's placed in either a brown paper bag, a manila envelope, a cardboard box. Depending on the item, it's how we package, determines how it's packaged. We then take it back to the office. Picture it again. If we have to process, we need to identify different things on the item. We picture it again more thoroughly. Then it's packaged, sealed, and then this white label identifies what's inside of it with an identifying number.
Okay. And does it also contain an identifying description at the bottom?
Yes, ma'am.
And who put that label on that package of evidence?
Me.
And what is the description that it contains on the label?
One red Mickey Mouse children's-sized slipper located on living room floor near entrance exit door.
Okay, I'm going to ask you if you would, Detective, or I'm sorry, Judge. I probably have to wait for him to open it up to move it into evidence if there's no objection.
There's no objection one way or the other.
Okay. Would you open that package for us, Detective?
And he's opening it, that will be in evidence.
Thank you, Judge. The item you collected from the defendant's living room floor?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was it about that slipper that made you think you should collect it?
It was child size and there's always one at the scene.
Okay, were you aware of where the second slipper was at the time you collected it?
No.
Are you aware now of what happened with that second slipper?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what happened to it?
I believe, well, through investigation, through reviewing documents, it was the canine handler had used the other slipper for his control.
All right, can you package that back up for us on another one thing? While I'm up here, I'm going to hand you what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit number 160. It's not on the list yet, but it will be. And can you tell us what's contained in that package? Just based on its label.
One large clear Ziploc bag containing medication in the name of Brendan Creato, and 3 pages of apparent discharge paperwork for the same person from Advocare Haddon Pediatric.
Okay, can you just open that up and confirm that that's what's inside? Judge, I'm going to move that into evidence.
Objection, Counsel.
Probably not, Your Honor, I would love you to see it first, that's fine. May I approach? I have no objection.
Okay.
No objection, that would be admitted.
Okay, can you just hold that up, show the jurors? And where did you find all that medication again?
It was in the bedroom, on the bed that had been flipped on its side. It was setting on one of the pieces of wood.
Package that back up. You know what, actually, I'm going to let her mark this in before you put it back in, okay? Probably easier to write on. That's marked down. Detective, once you finished collecting evidence inside the apartment, what did you do next?
I went back to the prosecutor's office and secured it in the crime scene unit, temporary evidence room.
Before you left the area, did you have an opportunity to search a truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and where was that truck located?
It was parked on Cooper Street, facing northeast.
Was it parked facing the right way on the street or the wrong way?
Wrong way.
What was the condition of the truck when you first saw it?
All 4 doors were open, as well as the tailgate was down, and it was, again, like the residence was heavily cluttered, and everything was thrown about.
Did you collect any evidence from the truck?
No, ma'am.
But did you photograph it as you went through it?
Yes, ma'am.
And before you left the scene, did you collect any other items from the exterior of the apartment?
Yes.
What did you collect?
2 white plastic trash bags were outside the residence. They were collected to be searched at a later time.
And why did you collect those?
We suspected that they were from the residence, so we took them for possible evidence within the trash bags.
Okay, and what did you see inside the residence that made you think these bags might be from within there?
Inside the bags, we saw a diaper on the outside.
No, I mean back when you were still inside the apartment. Was there a trash can in the kitchen?
Oh, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Did it have anything in it?
No.
Did it even have a bag in it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, did you return all these items back to the prosecutor's office?
Yes, ma'am.
And, all right, we're gonna finish up with these pictures. While I'm doing that though, what happened to the swabs that you collected from the bathroom? Where did those end up?
They were taken to New Jersey State Police Lab in Hamilton, New Jersey,
Okay, for what kind of analysis?
for an examination comparison to known DNA samples, as well as contributors to that sample.
And, let me back up just 1 minute, I'm sorry. What time did you actually leave the residence that evening?
I would have to see my report for that. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
What did you do when you left though? How did you leave the premises?
The actual residence?
Yes.
The residence, Since it was my scene, I secured the residence. We were the last ones to leave that, so I made sure that the locks were locked and the doors were closed and secured.
Okay, so did you do that with regard to the upstairs door that leads to the defendant's apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
And how about that downstairs door?
As well as the downstairs door.
And did you check them before you left?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to hand you, ask you to flip through. This is towards the end where you collected anything in a slipper, then going into the truck. Going to be State's Exhibits number 113 through and including 131. I'm going to ask you to look through those real quick. And as you flip through those photographs, again, number 113 through 131, do they fairly and accurately show what you saw with your own eyes out of the apartment and in the truck that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did you yourself take these photographs?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I removed them all to evidence.
No objection.
No objection to be evidence.
Okay, Detective, this is item number 113. Okay, can you show us, or can you explain to us what's relevant in this picture?
In the dead center of the picture, that small red item is the slipper that you previously saw that I took out of the paper bag. The entrance door or exit door is to the right of the picture, and that's the brown couch.
Okay, and that is you, I believe you said the slipper you collected, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you take a closer up shot of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see 113? And that's the location it was in when you collected it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 115. You also testified that you collected a comforter from the bedroom, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the comforter that you collected?
Yes, ma'am.
Looking at 116 here, you had indicated previously something about the trash can. What are we looking at here?
That's the entrance door or exit door to the left, the refrigerator to the right, and in the dead center of that picture is a trash can with no bag and no trash in it as well.
Okay, looking at that picture, do you see that there's a device on the front of the door that holds it open? Do you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that refresh your recollection as to whether or not that door was spring-loaded?
Correct. It is spring-loaded, because that we had to put that down to keep the door from closing on us.
Okay, and State's Exhibit number 117? And this is just a picture of the kitchen trash can?
Just to show that it was empty all the way down.
Okay. Let me ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit number 118. I didn't really ask any questions about this, but did you take a picture of inside the fridge while you were in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And State's Exhibit number 119. And what are we looking at here in 119?
That's the front driver's side of the truck that was parked outside the residence with the 4 doors open.
Okay, and as you're standing here looking at the truck, at the time when you were there and you took this photograph, where would the apartment building be in relation to where you're standing?
To the right.
And that's the condition the truck was in when you first approached it with the doors open like that?
Yes, ma'am.
State's Exhibit 120. And where are we looking at here?
I'm now on the driver's side of the vehicle. I work my way around the vehicle to show the condition of it is when I arrive. So I'm on the driver's side just looking through the vehicle with all the doors open.
Okay, State's Exhibit number 121.
I'm showing the back with the tailgate down and the items that were in the bed of the truck.
And State's Exhibit 122.
I'm on the passenger side now, same shot, just looking from the passenger to the driver's side with all the doors open.
And State's Exhibit 123.
I'm now looking inside the vehicle at the driver area, the seat area is in the bottom right, the floor area is in approximately the center bottom of the picture, and then the instrument pad on the steering wheel.
State's Exhibit number 124.
I'm looking now behind the driver's seat into the rear compartment area or seat area. The rear seat is actually in its up position, and you can see the debris now is just spewing about.
Looks like there's some, do you see some tools down there on the floor and some other items? Looks like maybe a backpack?
Yes.
Okay. And you're saying that rear seat is pushed up there, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And how about State's Exhibit number 125? What are we looking at now?
That's the front passenger area, seat area, and floor area.
Okay, and State's Exhibit number 126?
That's the seat located directly behind the front seat or the rear seat passenger. This type of truck, the back seat is actually split into what's called a 60/40. So a portion of the seat can be up as well as a portion of the seat can be down at the same time. That allows for the car seat to be there.
And State's Exhibit number 127?
I'm looking from the the front passenger side into the back of it. The car seat is in the upper left hand going to the bottom left hand portion of the picture.
Okay.
There's a handmade or homemade picture in the center of it. It said "I love Dad" on it with pictures
Okay.
on it, and that's the driver's seat in the bottom right hand corner.
Okay. And did this truck, did it have a console in between the two front seats?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you look in there as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you see 128, please? Is this the console that you looked at?
Yes, ma'am.
And was there a check in that console?
It's in the center of the picture.
And did you flip that check over and photograph it again?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this the check that was in the center console of the truck?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was one, picture number 130? And what are we looking at in this photograph?
That was a storage container / toolbox that was in the bed of the truck. I opened it up. I believe I opened it up just to photograph what was the contents of it that was inside.
And lastly, Detective, I believe you testified that you collected some bags of trash while you were out there, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and are those the bags of trash that you collected?
Yes, ma'am.
Please, lights, please. Apologies, I kept it. Okay, Detective, I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to that Thursday, October the 15th. Again, were you working that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you again called out with regards to the Brendan Creato case?
Yes, ma'am.
What time were you called?
17:10 hours or 10 after 5 p.m.
All right, and who contacted you this time?
Detective Mike Rhodes.
And who is he in relation to this case?
He's a detective with the prosecutor's office assigned to our homicide unit. Yes, ma'am.
What time did you arrive there?
Approximately 20 to 6.
And who was there when you arrived at the apartment building?
Mike Rhodes, Detective Mike Rhodes, and Sergeant Terry King.
What did you do when you first arrived?
I received the search warrants from Detective Rhodes, and then we went in, I photographed the scene again, and was directed to collect certain items.
Okay. And what was the condition of the apartment at this time?
It was still in some disarray, but it appeared through the boxes that were located that they were packing up the residents in an attempt to either move out or relocate.
What specifically were you asked to collect at this time? Like, why are you back in the apartment again?
Through investigation, we were advised that there had been a man walking in the area with a wheelie bag or a wheeled suitcase, some kind of container that was on wheels, from days prior. So we were going back into the residence to see if there was any of those items that were in there.
Okay, and did you see any items that fit that description?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you collect those items?
Yes, ma'am.
How many bags did you collect altogether?
5 bags altogether.
And how many of those bags were on wheels?
1.
Did you collect anything else while you were in the house besides the bags?
Another pillow and another comforter.
How many pillows did you collect altogether?
2 pillows, altogether with both search warrants?
Yes.
2 pillows and 2 comforters.
Okay, how many pillows did you collect on October the 15th?
2 pillows, I'm sorry.
2 pillows and 1 comforter?
Correct,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Judge, could you approach for a moment?